Yes, guys, welcome back to more GBFC. Wolverhampton Wanderers, they just keep on doing it. In today's video, we are going to talk about Matheus Cunha, who apparently is on the verge of a £62.5 million move to Manchester United this summer. But for now, Man United fans, look away now because the Premier League table looks just like this. Wolves are now up to 13th in the table, and I wanted to make a video again today talking about Wolves because I loved reading you guys' comments, and I'm going to put some of them up on the screen here. From the last Wolves video that I did, it was great to see so many of you getting involved with that video. But look, Wolves have been that team that have been close to Ipswich, close to relegation all season, and now the league position not only is still showing those 5 wins in a row, but 41 points. They could actually chase down Crystal Palace, and feasibly, they could also chase down Brentford as well. What an incredible turnaround it has been from Vitor Pereira's Wolverhampton Wanderers. And look, today they beat Leicester City, a relegated Leicester, an abysmal Leicester City. It finished 3-0 and Matheus Cunha opened the scoring. Strand Larsen, who is another striker that we're going to talk about today because Wolves haven't yet signed him permanently, but he's having a pretty remarkable season. And then Gomez off the bench makes it 3-0. Leicester, pretty atrocious. You can see the momentum chart of this game. Wolves very much in control. And that early goal at the start of the second half was enough to seal the deal. But before we go any further on that, I also want to touch upon the other 3 o'clock games. And Newcastle, I said there was going to be goals, and a lot of them in this one. 3-0. It's actually pretty good for Chelsea. Goals from Isak from the spot, Dan Burn, Osula with an absolutely brilliant header. But to focus on 2 things in particular here for Newcastle, it is the way that they can score goals from crosses. I am kind of jealous, I'm not going to lie. I see Chelsea cross the ball over and over again. And yes, Chelsea beat Everton. And if you want to see the 6 things we learned from that game, it's on the GBFC channel. But Dan Burn's towering header wins this game for Newcastle. And then Osula comes off the bench and he scores a quite magnificent header. 3-0, comfortable for the Geordies. And as it stands in the table, Newcastle now, having played the same amount of games as Man City, they are 1 point ahead. And it is so tight in that race for the Champions League places. Newcastle on 62, Man City on 61, Chelsea on 60, level with Nottingham Forest. But today, I want to give the credit to this man right here. Let's zoom in on him. Matheus Cunha. All of the story has been this week about, Man United, 62.5 million. And I asked the question to Wolves fans in that video that we made about Vitor Pereira a couple of weeks ago now. And I said, what do you want to happen this summer? Because you've got a manager now that has been absolutely remarkable. No one can deny, when you look at how healthy that Premier League table looks now if you're a Wolves fan, they keep on winning. The goal difference is -10, but they had conceded so many goals at the start of the season. And now we are looking here at a serious team. Sarr with another clean sheet in goal, but this back 3, Agbadu again in particular, let's focus on him. Before we give Cunha all the credit, you can see stepping out. He's not actually defending. I know it's Leicester, but he was magnificent again. 3 out of 3 ground duels won, 1 out of the 2 aerials, 89% accurate passes. And look, accurate passes, it isn't always the greatest metric to look at because it depends what kind of passes you're playing. But he's attempting long ball after long ball. And yes, he only makes 5 out of the 12. But this is a player that is trying to get Wolves playing out from the back. Andre and Gomez again in the middle. Fantastic. 8 Nori. Another player that I think will probably go potentially into one of the most underrated wing-backs or full-backs in the Premier League this season. But obviously at Wolves, he's playing as a wing-back. Strand Larsen, again, another game, another goal. Shots off target 3, but he does get his goal. And you can see here it's the work rate. He's everywhere on the pitch for Wolves. I actually had both the Newcastle and the Wolves games up at the same time. And I just kept finding myself gravitating to watching Wolves, to be honest. Because there's just really, really good football that they're playing right now. But in particular, Matheus Cunha, man. This guy, I'm going to say it now. Matheus Cunha might actually be the best number 10 in the Premier League right now. I think this season, his stats are sensational. And when you look at the way that Wolves set up, he does come back and do A lot of work picking the ball up here, almost like playmaker-esque kind of levels. He's a real threat in and around this area. Gets a goal from an XG of 0.53. 2 assists today as well. Shots on target, 3. Dribbles attempted, 2 out of 2. He's never really given the ball away. Attempting 4 long balls, 75% accuracy. 75% of his ground duels won as well. This is a serious player that, honestly, Matheus Cunha, I genuinely don't see why he doesn't walk into any team in the Premier League right now. I think he could get into Liverpool's team, and we're about to crown them champions tomorrow. He is absolutely superb. And look, Wolves fans have been having their say in the comments of the last video that we made about them. Let's take a little look here. People are saying they just hope they finish ahead of Manchester United. I genuinely think that is going to happen now. I'm not going to lie to you. I think most people are sleeping on the Andre Gomez midfield duo. Absolutely. Yes, Cunha leaving and probably Aït-Nouri as well. However, we are now a physical team. Players like Manetzi, Andre, João Gomez. We can bully other teams and press hard. Bellegarde also. Cunha will be a big loss, but we will spend. So just have to keep the faith. Now, my question is, right, £62.5 million. I think if it is Manchester United, I think this is actually a bargain. I think Matheus Cunha is that good of a footballer. And the numbers this season absolutely back that up. But my question would be, right, when Wolves haven't had Cunha in the team, they have still looked so solid. So I think signing Strand Larsen on a permanent is a really good idea. But how do you replace these level of numbers? And if we look at the per 90 statistics, 0.6 goals per 90 is absolutely brilliant. 29 matches played. And the totals, 15 goals in the Premier League, 6 assists. Cunha has gone today over 20 goal involvements in the Premier League with an average rating of 7.68 all season. You can see the majority of the time he's playing on that left side and how Manchester United have needed someone in this exact position to hurt teams this season. But look, for Wolves, I think what you've got to go with here is I don't think you can actually replace Cunha. And I think in the current market, every time I see him play, I'm like, 62.5 million might actually be a steal. And I know the quality of the opposition today isn't incredible. It is Leicester, who are not the best team in the Premier League. They don't score any goals. So Wolves haven't really been that threatening. And if you do look at this left side again, I think having Aït-Nouri behind him, he's such a brilliant footballer as well. I think if you're Wolves, I wouldn't necessarily be thinking right now, well, do we have to spend this money on the same profile? I think you've got such a solid setup here. And the way that this 3-4-2-1 is playing is actually really difficult for a lot of Premier League teams to face right now. Strand Larsen, I think you've got to get this guy in permanently from Celta Vigo because he just does score goals. And all in all, there is so much quality inside of this Wolves team. It's incredibly organised. And look, Santiago Bueno's a brilliant player as well, and he's been nursing himself back in recently. Sarabia has turned up with goals off the bench this season. All in all, they absolutely deserve to be 13th in the Premier League table. And look, I don't know if you're going to be able to catch Brentford and Palace. To be 13th right now and to be on this run going into the summer transfer window. Let me know, Wolves fans, in the comments down below, because I love watching you guys right now. It is a breath of fresh air, I think, to see such an organised team and to see such a stark difference between what Gary O'Neill had, conceding lots of goals. And watching Chelsea at Wolves at the start of this season, I was like, I don't know if they've got enough quality going forward. Strand Larsen's delivered, Cunha's delivered. Inevitably, all of the other players around them have been massive as well. Big signings have been made. Solid midfield. I think really next season, the goal has got to be to try and just build this squad out. Because I think you've got enough strong players in there. Keep Aït-Nouri if you can. If there's a big bid that comes in, I could see it happening. Because I think left-sided players in the Premier League that can play wing-back, full-backs right now, they're kind of few and far between for a lot of clubs. I think a lot of clubs could be looking at him. But Matheus Cunha, that is the man. Absolutely brilliant goal and 2 assists. And yet another massive performance for Wolves. And if we take a look, we had an absolute classic at the end of the game between Brighton and West Ham. Carlos Baleba, a player that we might talk about a bit more on the channel, and Mitoma with late goals there. Big win for Brighton. Fulham, they also left it late with a Ryan Sessegnon goal away at relegated Southampton. That is the 3 o'clock kickoffs for you in the Premier League. If you are not yet subscribed to more GBFC, I'd love to ask you to do so. I like doing these immediate reactions after the game. And of course, scattered throughout the week, you've got the videos where we do a bit more of a deeper dive. We get some more stats up. We get some pictures in there. So you get a bit of everything. We're uploading every day here on this More GBFC channel. So stay tuned. Big wins for Newcastle and Wolves at home. And Wolves, they just keep going. Brilliant. See you guys in the next one.